All right, so I wanted to go over my trades for the week ending April 9th. So I closed about 9 trades last week. They totaled a net profit US of 844. So you can see them right here. They're pretty small amounts. Most of them are small amounts, but I'm going to go through all of them and explain the trade. So first one here, you've got GoodRx. It was a naked put. So you see here, I've written 35, but initially it was a 40 strike. I was playing earnings and it didn't go well. The stock dropped below the 40 strike. So I had to roll it. So I actually rolled it to the May 21st expiry. I think I went from March 19 to May 21st. I rolled it to the May 21st expiry and I rolled it down. So I went from 40 strike to 35 strike. So initially, as you can see here, I collected $1.80 on the 40 put. When GoodRx was trading at around 41, 42, I sold a 40 put to play earnings. I collected $1.80. And then when the stock went against me, I rolled it to the 35 strike for May 21st. So I went lower, making the trade safer. But for that, I was only able to collect 50 cents. If I had gone for the 40 strike, I would have collected more for sure. I ended up closing it this week, so April 5th, I was able to close it for $1.45, and I think the next day I could have closed it for $1, but I'm happy with that. $73 for an earnings trade that went bad. I'm happy to get out for a profit. So that was open March 11th, closed April 5th. So if we look at the chart here, GoodRx, GDRX. So March 11th, I believe I said. So we're going to have to go probably, right there. Okay. So March 11, I think I sold it around here. And the stock dropped after earnings, as you can see. So it went from 43 to 38. And it kept downtrending, kept dropping, and never gave me an opportunity to get out. And even at some point, it went to 34. But then it started going back up again. And then April 5th, I believe. Yeah, April 5th. So right over here. So when it was trading at around 40, I was able to close the trade for $1.45, giving me a net profit of $73 US. So can't complain. Next trade I have here is a naked put on HIMS that I opened March 22nd, closed April 5th as well, and this had a May 21st expiry. So if you go look up the chart for HIMS and look at March 22nd, so HIMS, March 22nd is around here. So as you can see, I like to get in when the stock drops. So you can see there's a big drop here between March 19 and March 22nd. So when the stock was trading around $13, I sold a 12.5 put for about $1.70. And then this week, so April 5th, right over here, look at the top, 14.33. I closed, and actually I think it was a good thing that I closed it because it dropped right after. I could probably get back into the trade if I want. I didn't notice it actually. We'll see next week. Maybe I'll try to sell it again for $1.70. All right, so April 5th, it was trading at 14.33. So I was able to close it for 90 cents, giving me a net profit of $68. Initially, my goal was to make at least $100 profit, but I didn't feel like holding on and waiting any longer. Decided to take the profit. Next here, Peloton. So if you remember this trade, if you've been following my trade recap videos, I've had this one for a while. As you can see, it was open February 17, and Peloton dropped all the way to 95 at some point. So this naked put here was 25 points in the money at some point. So let's look at the chart. February 17, Peloton. So PTON, and we're gonna have to probably go 3 months or 6 months. All right, so we said February 17. So Peloton was trading in the 150s, 140s. But then when it dropped to 139, I thought it was a good entry because it dropped a little bit, but evidently I was completely wrong. And it just kept dropping, and at some point it was trading at 95. So as you can see, I entered here at the 120. So I waited for a red day, but it wasn't it wasn't the only red day. There were more red days coming that, of course, I can't know that. So I just try to give myself a better chance by entering on a red day, but it doesn't mean that it's always going to win. So I entered on a red day, making my short strike at 120, which got completely breached. And then at some point, when it got breached, I sold other naked puts. I sold one at 105 and I sold another one at 80. Those ones I closed last week. If we check over here, Peloton. So yeah, I definitely closed them early. I could have closed them for way more profit this week. See, I made $88 on each, but definitely could have made way more if I held on to them this week. But whatever. So if we go back to the chart for Peloton, so finally this week when it went back up, it reached 120 and there's 1 week remaining. Remember the expiry on this Peloton here, this one here, the 120 put, the expiry was April 16, so it's next week. So when Peloton was trading above 120, I was able to close it for 456. Definitely, if I held on even till the end of the day, it was trading for around $2. So it would have made almost $300 profit. Instead, I made $111 profit. But seeing that I was down at some point $1,500, if not more, on this naked put when Peloton was trading at 95, when I saw a chance to get out for a profit, I took it. I didn't want to fall back in that position again where I was down over $1,500 on Peloton. So this 579, I initially sold the 120 put February 17 for $3 for March 19 expiry, and then it was completely breached on March 19, so I had to roll it. So when I rolled it to April 16 for another credit of $2.79, which is written here. So combined, that gives me total net credit of $5.79. So April 8th, I was able to close the whole trade for $4.56, giving me my net profit of $1.11. So that was Peloton. So the next trade here is a covered call on higher stock. I could have actually kept this longer. So you see, I got in for $6.80 at a 10 strike. I got out at $9.16. So it's a covered call. So if my strike is $10, that means the max I can get out of this trade for is $10. So I got out probably 85 cents, 84 cents too early, but I wasn't too sure of this stock. And I still had it until May 21st, so over 30 days to go. And I wanted to confirm some profits this week. And it had the highest profit in my trade, so $224. But definitely I could have kept it and I could have sold more covered calls on it. If come May 21st, the stock is trading a little bit over $10, I could roll the call and sell another call for more premiums. But instead I decided to close the trade, probably because I wasn't too sure of the stock. And I wanted to confirm some profits. So that's why I closed the trade. So higher, if we look at the chart here for higher, so February 9th, higher HYRE. So February 9th, can I go one chart? Nope. So let's do 6 months. So February 9th is around here. So I got in around here at 11.33, and I sold a call the first time initially, and then I sold another one. I rolled it. So the price here that you see, $6.80, is a combination of 2 calls. So initially I got in for $8.76. So that means I had a net credit of about $1.25. And then by rolling it, I collected an extra $1.96. But then by closing the trade, I got out for about $2.24 basically. So how does a covered call work? So if I sell a call option at a 10 strike, if the stock is trading above $10, I have to give away my shares. I lose my shares at that strike. But because the call premium was worth more, whatever I paid for the stock, and then I remove the call option that I sold. So let's say I paid $11 for the stock, but I collected $3 from the call option. So that means my net debit, my net cost for the trade is $8. But my max selling price of the whole covered call trade is $10. So that means my max profit is 10 minus 8, which is going to be $2. So that's how the covered call works, and that's how I use it, and that's why I was able to get out for $2 or $224 net profit. And then next here I've got Tiger here, did a covered call. So this was not the best entry, but I entered on a red day for sure. but there were more red days to come. So let's look at the chart here. March 22nd, Tiger TIGR. So March 22nd. So it was during the sell-off. So right over here, see, I got in over here when it was trading at $19.18, but it actually dropped even more. It went all the way to 13.46. So I didn't even have a good entry. But then this week when it came back up to $19, I got out of the trade. So when it was trading at around 19 initially when I got in, I sold the 17.5 strike for I paid $14.50. So look at the difference. I've got $3 here of credit, potential credit that I can collect if by May 21st the stock is trading above 17.5. Because if it's trading above 17.5, I lose my shares at 17.5. But I only paid 14.5 to get into the trade because of the call that I sold against the shares that I bought. But I decided to get out of the trade this week for 15.6, giving me a $98 profit after commission US. Now, I could have held on to it till May 21st. The stock is trading at 19. As long as it stays above 17.5, I get my $3, which would be $300. But because it's very volatile, I decided to take my $1 profit and get out. But definitely, I didn't get the best entry on this trade. So I got in over here, and it went even lower, but I was still able to make $1 profit out of it. Now imagine if I had sold it over here, it would have made much more profit, and I would have gotten out of the trade much quicker. All right, so the next trade that I have here is CCIV. Yeah, that one's been a while actually. March 24th. It was also during the sell-off. So these ones, the final ones here, they're not much profit. They're small ones, but I just wanted to clean up a bit my trades. I had too many open trades, and earnings season is coming up next week. So I wanted to have enough maintenance access to play earnings because I enjoy playing earnings. So I closed some of these trades here that they had like $70, $80 profit. Usually I'll try to get out for 50% of the credit max profit, or I'll get out if I can get $1, which is $100. So CCIV, I got in when the stock got in March 24th. So if I look at the chart here, CCIV, it was also during the sell-off, but it wasn't the best entry. So March 24th is around here. Actually, it was pretty close. So I got in when it was trading at 23, but it actually went to 22, and at some point it went to $21. So I got in at around 23. I sold the 22 call. So if I go back to my spreadsheet, or not even, I sold the 20 strike. So I sold the 20 strike. I got in for $18. So I only had to pay $18. Why? Because I sold a call against my shares. So that brought my net entry, it brought my net debit for the trade down to $18. So by May 21st, as long as CCIV is above $20, I lose my shares, or I sell my shares at 20. But because my net entry is 18, then I make a $2 profit. But because I was able to get out sooner for $18.75, so I got in for 18, I can get out for $18.75 by April 9th instead of waiting all the way to May 21st and being exposed to more risk, not knowing what's going to happen to CCIV. Decided to take the profit, close the trade for $63. Did the same thing on Palantir, March 24th. So as you can see, they were entered at the same time. I went for the 22 strike. I got in for 19.95. I got out on Friday, April 9th for 20.8, giving me $73 net profit. And then TTCF, Tattooed Chef, another covered call here, March 25th. Got in at the 17.5 strike. I paid $16, and then I got out for 16.83, giving me $71 net profit US. Now this one here, this was actually provided by a member in my Trade Alerts group. So I don't even know what this stock is, but it's a tech stock that dropped hard because of a lawsuit. I think it went from 400 to 300. And so I looked at it and I felt the trade was safe because it was about 70 points out of the money to go to May 21st. Collected $3.50 on a naked put. It didn't take much capital because I was 70 points out of the money. But I didn't feel comfortable holding a stock that I don't know anything about, especially with that much capital, or especially with a strike that is that high. It actually doesn't take much capital, but if the stock drops to my strike, it's going to take a lot of capital. So collected $3.50, got out for $2.80, giving me $58 profit. I don't think it was a little bit, it was a little bit chicken of me, but I wanted to have a stress-free weekend. So I decided to close it for $58 net profit US. We'll see. Maybe I'll get back into this trade. We'll see. But because I just didn't know anything about it, I decided to close it. So the capital required. So the capital required for this trade, it's a 30% margin requirement stock. So this is for Questrade. This is the way they calculate it. So first, they take 30% of the price of the stock. So it was trading at around 280 when I got in. And then from 30% of 280, which gives me 84, I'm going to remove how much out of the money my strike was. So my strike is 280 minus 210. So it is 70 points out of the money. So I'm going to remove 70. And then I'm going to multiply by the number of contracts times 100. So I did one contract. So this actually took $1,400 of maintenance excess. So it's very little capital for $350. So that's actually a good deal. The problem is if it drops. If the stock drops to 210, then guess what? It's going to start taking almost $6,000 of capital. So if the stock drops to 210, it's going to take $6,300 of capital. So as the stock drops, the capital required to maintain the trade goes up. So that was my fear, very slight fear, but I still had it, so I just decided to close it. And like I said, I wanted to be able to play earnings comfortably, and I can always get back in if the opportunity presents itself. At the same time, the options were very illiquid, so I was afraid that if, let's say, I had the chance to get out, I wouldn't be able to get out because the options are so illiquid. The bid and ask spread was very wide. So I didn't want to be left in a position where the stock is out of the money, but because the bid and ask is so wide, I'm unable to close the trade. So I decided to just get out of the trade, but we'll see. All right, so capital required for the other trade I didn't mention. So this is a naked put as well. So same principle. So it's going to be 30% of the price of the stock. So since the stock was moving, so let's just take the example if the stock was exactly at my strike. So in this case, it's about 30% of 35. So it took about $1,000 of capital. This here took about $1,000 of capital. This is also a 30% margin requirement stock. So 0.3 times 12.5. So it took about $375 of capital of maintenance excess. So not bad. Peloton. Oh yeah, Peloton was pretty bad. So Peloton, when I first entered the trade, the stock was trading at 140. So 140 times 30%. And I took a strike that's 20 points in the money. So minus 20 times 100. So that's $2,200 of maintenance excess. So it only took $2,200 capital when I first entered the trade. But when Peloton was trading at $95, it was in the money. So now Peloton's trading at 95. So 95 times 0.3. But now I'm in the money by 15 points. So guess what? I'm going to go add, I said 15, I'm actually in the money by 25 points. So I'm going to go add 25. So now 53.5 times 100. So when Peloton was trading at 95, this trade was taking $5,350 of maintenance excess from me. But I did collect 579, but obviously I didn't keep the whole 579. I closed it for 456. So I made a profit of 111 while using at some point $5,000 of maintenance excess. And then the covered call here is basically my entry, my debits that I paid. Because they're in a register account, I'm not using margin, cannot use margin. So it's basically what I paid. So this one took $680 of capital. This one took $1,450 of capital. This one took $1,800 of capital. This one took $2,000 of capital. And this one took $1,600 of capital. And this one here took, I think I said about $1,500 of capital. So yeah, so that's how much capital was required to place these trades. So here let's add them up again. So 1,200, maybe 4 plus 400 plus Peloton. Well, let's say the worst case scenario. At some point it took 5,000. So let's just put 5,000. And then the other covered calls here. So 680 plus 1,400 plus 1,800 plus 2,000 plus 1,600 plus the naked put here took about 1,500. So I used for these trades here, the trades that I closed this week, They required about $15,000 of maintenance excess or capital, and I made a total confirmed profit of 844. So for those that are looking for the return on capital, so 844 divided by 15,500. So it was a return of about 5.4%, which is not bad, but obviously it wasn't necessarily 1 week's return because some of these trades were open back in March. Some were in February as well. But now I'm left with all these trades here. So I've got way too many open trades. I've got 19 open trades. So I used to have over almost 30. So now it's slimmed down a bit. But the problem is all these are in bad position. So this one's breached, this one's breached, this one's completely breached, this one's breached, and it's a put spread and it's expiring next week. This one's okay. It's breached, but it's not so bad. This one's very close. This one's completely breached as well. This one's breached. This one's breached. This one is breached as well. This one is breached as well. Oh, this one's completely breached. This is my worst one here. My strike is 30. I've got 2 contracts and the stock is trading at $19. So this one's the worst. This one is okay. This one's doing good. This one is not bad. This one should be fine. Fubo should be fine. I mean, it went up last week, so hopefully it continues up. This one is break even. This one's break even as well. This one's doing terrible, and this one's doing very badly. So yeah, so these are my remaining opening trades, and we'll see what happens next week. I'll definitely try to play some earnings, maybe JP Morgan, we'll see. So yeah, so if you want to be part of the Trade Alerts group on WhatsApp, just use the link below. It's $25 a month. And like always, if you're going to open an account with Questrade to trade on the stock market, use my referral link below to get $50 in free trades. Also check out the other referral links below. They might interest you. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button, share with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.